So, good day everyone. And for our topic for this morning, it's all about basic knife skills or the different vegetable cutting techniques. Mastering basic knife skills is one of the most essential parts of cooking, along with keeping your knives sharp. A sharp knife not only allows you to work faster but safer. For example, you would not use a large chef's knife to deseed a chili. The key is the amount of control you have over the knife at all times. Knife skills training is also an effective way to increase efficiency and safety in your kitchen. As we build confidence with our knife skills, we can move more quickly and easily through routine, chopping, and cutting tasks. Here's our lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to identify the different vegetable cutting techniques, follow safety rules when using knife, and perform different vegetable cutting techniques. What you are seeing in your screen right now are the different examples of vegetable cutting techniques that you are going to perform. Now, before you proceed to perform your different vegetable cutting techniques, here are some ways to improve your knife skills. First is to choose the right knife. Every cook should have a few different knives at the ready and be aware of their applications. Know the basic cuts. By mastering a few simple motions, you'll be able to cut items into pieces faster and more effectively. Then grip properly, focus, and maintain your blades sharp. Here are some ways or here are some safety precautions in order to prevent cuts. First is to keep knives sharp. Use a cutting board. Pay attention to what you are doing. Cut away from yourself and others. And use knives only for cutting and don't ever catch a falling knife. The term knife cuts can be scary, right? It simply refers to the many ways of cutting and shaping foods. In culinary praise, every shape and size have a different name so that when reading a recipe, the person cooking will know exactly what to do. Another safety precautions when we are using knife or when you are performing the different cutting techniques is don't leave knives in sink or in the pots and pans area. Clean knives carefully with the sharp edge away from you. Store knives in a safe place. Carry a knife properly. Hold it beside you, point down, sharp edge back and away from you, and don't swing your arm. So these are the things that you never ever do in your kitchen knives. First is to never wash them in the dishwasher. Never leaves knives in the sink, never put them away wet, never store them unprotected, never use glass cutting boards, and never use them when they are dull. Diba? Sabi nga natin is to maintain the sharpness of our kitchen knives and never scrap up your food with the knife. So those are the different safety precautions that we can apply or that we need to observe when we are performing the different cutting techniques. Let us now move on for the first cutting techniques, and this is bâtonnet. So as you can see in the picture, this is basically a rectangular stick that measures 1/2 by 1/2 and the length is 2.5 to 3 inches. It is also the starting point of another cut, the medium dice. Now always remember class, if you're going to prepare a medium dice, you can create bâtonnet first before you start the medium dice. Again, for bâtonnet, it is also known as the matchstick or rectangular stick cut that measures 1/2 by 1/2 by 2.5 to 3 inches. Now, class, as we go along on our discussion, we will notice that in each cutting techniques, there is a measurement. So, doon na sila nagkakaiba-iba when it comes to different cutting techniques. For our second cutting technique is we have the medium dice. The medium dice measures 1/2 inch by 1/2 by 1/2, and it is a smaller version of the large dice. This is generally a good choice when recipes don't specify the size of the dice and the ingredient list just says diced tomatoes. Now, just like what I've told you in the first cutting technique, which is the bâtonnet, if you have the bâtonnet already, that will be the starting point for you to create the medium dice. Okay? For the third one is we have the ALUMMETE. An ALUMMETE measures 1/4 by 1/4 inch and the same length with bâtonnet, which is 2.5 to 3 inches. The ALUMMETE is sometimes referred to as the matchstick cut. Kung ang bâtonnet is what we call the rectangular stick, this one ALUMMETE is the matchstick cut. For ALUMMETE, it is also the starting point of small dice. Again, para hindi malito ha, for bâtonnet, that is the starting point of medium dice. For ALUMMETE, this is the starting point of a small dice. For bâtonnet, again, the measurement is 1/2 by 1/2 by 2.5 to 3 inches. For medium dice is 1/2 by 1/2 by 1/2. And then for the ALUMMETE is 1/4 by 1/4 by 2.5 to 3 inches. So, kung meron na tayong ALUMMETE, let's now proceed for the small dice. Small dice, this is the littlest of the dice cuts. The small dice measures 1/4 inch by 1/4 by 1/4 inch and it is produced by slicing the ALUMMETE into 1/4 inch section. So, ang tatandaan nyo lang rito when it comes to small dice, this is 1/4 by 1/4 and the small dice is, we can create the small dice in creating ALUMMETE. For the large dice, or what we call the Macedon, it is a culinary knife cut measuring 3/4 by 3/4 inch by 3/4. This square cut is most often used for vegetables like potatoes and sometimes fruits such as watermelon. Now, for the large dice class, you can also use carrots or you can also use sweet potato if we're going to perform the different cutting techniques. So, you have noticed the measurement or the difference between the dice is 1/4. So, nag-start tayo sa small dice which is 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/4. The medium is 1/2 by 1/2 by 1/2. And then for the large dice is 3/4 by 3/4. Okay, so for julienne cuts, this is the littlest of the dice cuts, the small dice that measures 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/4, and it is produced by slicing the ALUMMETE into 1/4 inch section. So, kanina sinabi ko, yung small dice, we can create small dice from the ALUMMETE. Now, aside from the small dice that we can create from ALUMMETE, we can also create julienne from ALUMMETE. Paano? If we're going to slice the ALUMMETE into 1/4 inch section lengthwise, is we can create a julienne cuts. So, saan nyo ba nakikita itong mga julienne cuts na to? Sa mga stir-fried vegetables or even sa pansit gisado. So, that is a julienne cut. For fine julienne, the fine julienne knife cut measures 1/16 by 1/16 by 2 inches. It is also the starting point for the fine Brunoise cut. This cut is often used for garnishes. So kung mapapansin nyo lang, ang fine julienne na sinasabing cut ay mas pino at mas manipis doon sa first julienne cuts that we discussed. This time, we have the half moon. To slice vegetables, hold a cleaver or chef's knife perpendicular to the vegetable and make the first cut. Make each succeeding cut in the same manner and then thin slices should be no more than 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick. Cut half moons by slicing the vegetable lengthwise in half Slice each vegetable half as described above, making half circle shapes. Now, for your performance, for these cutting techniques, you can use zucchini, cucumber, or even carrots for our performances. So that is a half moon cutting technique. Okay, this time it is a rolling cut. First, wash and fill the vegetable as required. Lay the vegetable on a cutting board in front of you. Position the cleaver or any chef's knife at 40 to 45-degree angle. Cut the vegetable, make a diagonal cut at one end of the carrot. Discard the stem piece. Roll the vegetable, roll the carrot 1/4 to 1/3 of the way toward you, and continue cutting. Make another diagonal cut to the carrot and keep the roll cutting. Continue rolling and cutting the carrot until you reach the end, and discard the final piece. Now, for this rolling cut class, baka medyo malito kayo, no? Baka hindi nyo maintindihan. Do not worry, cause before you perform the different cutting techniques I'm going to show you some video presentation on how these following cutting techniques are being performed or are being cut. So, para hindi kayo matakot or kabahan when it comes to your performances. Now, we have the chiffonade. Chiffonade, it is a slicing technique in which leafy green vegetables such as spinach or a flat-leaf herb like basil are cut into long thin strips. This is accomplished by stacking leaves, rolling them tightly, then slicing the leaves perpendicular to the roll. Now, for chiffonade, pwede rin tayong gumamit ng cabbage or yung sinasabi natin chiffonade or shredded cabbage. Now, for your performances, since yung basil, spinach, or yung ibang herbs ay mahal, I am suggesting na instead of those mentioned vegetables, you can use kamote tops or talbos ng kamote for your chiffonade cuts. You can use also kangkong leaves, pwede naman. So, that is a chiffonade. For the rondel cuts are created from cylindrical fruits or vegetables. Some of the main foods used to do so are cucumbers or carrots. Also, other types of foods used to execute this cut are strawberries and bananas. These are fruits and vegetables that are easily used to cut into rondel cuts. And another suggestion ko rito, no, when it comes to rondel cuts, you may use yung mga zucchini or yung mga cucumber na maliliit or maninipis. And then, you can also use a small carrots in order for you to create this kind of cuts, which is the rondel cut. We also have the wedge or the wedge cut. Round vegetables cut that are equally lengthwise. Cut vegetables, fruit in half lengthwise, then cut those halves into thirds. Try to cut the wedges into equal sizes so they all cook at the same rate. Now, class, for the cutting techniques, the purpose or the objectives of having these different cutting techniques for you to learn is it makes our work easier. It makes our dishes or presentation more presentable, more appetizing, and more appealing. And aside from that, aside from presentation, is it makes the ingredients cook evenly. Pantay-pantay silang maluluto. So that is the importance of knowing the different cutting techniques. Another cutting technique is the paysanne cut. The paysanne cut consists in slices of vegetables about 1 millimeter thick. It is useful for soups or creams in some aromatic preparations when the cooking time will be short. For example, you use it for the minestrone soup or sautéing with a little cream to mix with pasta. Cut into thin slices with thickness of 1 millimeter. Now, For the paste and cut class, if you notice, they are square. Now, for the paste and cuts, you can also create triangular or any kind of shapes for as long as the thickness is 1 millimeter. If you're going to design the carrots by putting some cuts into the surface of the carrots, and you can create a flower shape. Now, for as long as the thickness is 1 millimeter, we can consider that as a paysan cutting technique. For our last cutting techniques is we have the means. These are smaller than a fine brunoise. The means is less precise since it is supposed to be finely cut. We most often mince garlic or other aromatics when we want the flavor to be distributed more throughout the dish. Now, for the mince, you can use garlic or onions for mincing. Now, baka ang mangyari, class, gumamit kayo ng mga chopper or mga food processor for mincing. Although, lumang kagawian or lumang kagamitan na meron tayo sa bahay, when we are going to mince garlic, is we are using mortar and pestle, right? So those are the different cutting techniques that you need to perform next week. So here are the different cutting techniques that we have been discussed. We have the bâtonnet, which measures 1/2 by 1/2 by 2.5 to 3 inches, and this is the starting point of the medium dice. Again, 1/2 by 1/2 by 1/2, and we also have the ALUMMETTE, which is the starting point of the small dice that measures 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/4, and this one, the julienne, which also comes from the ALUMMETTE cuts, which measures 1/4 by 1/4, and for the rough julienne, kaya siya tinawag na rough, it's because of the edges. And then we also have the macédoine, or what we call the large dice, which measures 3/4 by 3/4 by 3/4, and then these are the paysanne. Again, anong tatandaan natin dito when it comes to paysanne? The thickness should be 1 millimeter thick. For chiffonade or shredded vegetables or shredded cuts, then the rondel slice, in which we can use different, or we can perform this cut in fruits and vegetables. We have the diagonal, this one are brunoise, the finest dice, then the rolling cut, the tournée, the slit or split wedges, and then crush, and then also we have the mirepoix. Now for this mirepoix class, this is one of the major ingredients in preparing stock. So as we go along on our discussion for our next lesson or next quarter, we will be discussing on how to prepare stock, soups, and sauces. Now, for your performances, ito lang, so these are the different cutting techniques that you're going to perform, except this one, and also crush. Then, the rest ay gagawin nyo na for your performances. Okay? So, again, before you proceed to your performances, please watch the link or the videos that I uploaded in our Schoology. So, that's it.